Hello, I'm Olive Cooper, and today I will be discussing the Santa Fe Independent School District versus Jane Doe that was ruled on by the Supreme Court in 2000. Here's a little background information on this case. Before 1995, Santa Fe Independent School District had a policy that allowed an elected student to deliver a prayer at each home varsity football game. But this prayer was overtly Christian and had implicit bias. Mormon and Catholic families anonymously filed a suit under the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The district court prohibited this policy. While the suit was still pending, the school district implemented a new policy which permitted but did not force student initiated and student led prayer at all home games. It also authorized 2 elections before each game. The first election determined whether invocation should be delivered at the game at all, and the second election was to select the spokesperson to deliver the prayer. The district court ordered that the new policy should only allow for non-sectarian prayer, and if that was included, it would not violate the Establishment Clause. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that any form of prayer at all at games was invalid and unconstitutional, and this went on to the Supreme Court on March 29, 2000. The school district proclaimed that the pre-game messages was solely run by students and was private speech. The school district also argued that there was no mandatory attendance or coercion. And the Supreme Court had to answer the following question. Does the Santa Fe Independent School District's policy permitting student-led, student-initiated prayer at football games violate the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment? Through argument and discussion, the Supreme Court answered this question with yes. 6 justices saying yes and agreeing, while 3 justices disagreed, believing that the policy only promoted private speech. With the majority, the court held that the school district's policy of student-led prayer violated the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The Supreme Court concluded that the football game prayers were public speech authorized and set by government facilities because this prayer took place on school property at school-sponsored events and was broadcast over school-owned loudspeaker, and that was controlled by school officials. Since this is a public school funded by the government, this was in direct contradiction with the Establishment Clause. The court also rejected the argument of the lack of mandatory attendance. School students obligated to attend games were obligated to attend games because they had to earn credit for classes like cheerleading, band, football. And there's also social pressure that makes many attend these games. The long-lasting implications were that the case limited the opportunities for public schools to endorse religious messages at school-sponsored events, and it also effectively separated church and state by keeping religion out of public schools, which aids in a more open environment and leaves room for all religions. This case positively impacted communities by promoting religious freedom and gives voices to the religious minorities who regularly feel left out of the rights and protections of the law. Overall, Santa Fe Independent School District v. Doe was an essential case for promoting religious freedom and keeping school prayers out of school-sponsored events to separate church and state. Thank you so much for your time.